Lucy and Zeb here at BBC, introducing today's headline, ICC Solutions.
And over to Toby and Matthew for more information.
Hello, I'm Matthew.
And hello, I'm Toby.
We are now going to introduce you our guest, Wendy Maisie, the Director of ICC Solutions.
What gave you the idea of security on the card?
The security on the card has actually been identified by the likes of Visa, MasterCard, American Express. All of the card schemes work together in a non-competitive way to make sure that card holders not only have secure cards, but also that there's interoperability between all of the cards. So no matter what card you have, you can go basically anywhere in the world and use your card.
What are the risks of contactless payments and how do you minimise these?
There's a lot less risks than people actually tend to think. For example, there's usually a ceiling limit that's been set by your issuer. That was recently updated to £30 in the UK from £20. But if, for example, you're out and about at the shops and you drop your card, what will happen is that there will be a bar put on your card if, for example, it is used so many times. What it'll actually do is force that card to go online so that eventually you would have to put the PIN in. So if they actually notice any unusual behaviour, that you're shopping in stores that you normally wouldn't be shopping in, that you're buying things quite close to the ceiling limit instead of buying chewing gum for 49p, after 3 or 4 times of using the card that day, you will actually be forced to enter your PIN number. And of course, someone who has picked your card up will not know your PIN number. So it is more secure than most people think.
How did you feel when the concept of your test tool was accepted by the banks?
We were obviously absolutely elated. It had been a long road, over 2-3 years of developing the tool, taking our own financial risks as directors as well. But I think it was just a huge achievement to finally be recognised by the banks and by the likes of Visa and MasterCard. The very fact that we had a globally recognised tool that was going to be used throughout the industry to ensure that all chip and pin or EMV transactions were going to be secure, and to be able to play a big part in that was a very proud moment.
What challenges do your clients have to face?
The biggest challenge that our clients have is actually getting the resource in place to be able to implement chip and pin. And also, a lot of the time there's an underestimation of the cost and time involved in the implementation, especially the bit that we're involved with, which is the testing part of it. So for example, a card will have to issue all of the chip and pin cards with the chips on, and the likes of the big merchants such as Debenhams, Marks and Spencers, they will have to swap out all of their hardware at the point of sale. So when you're going through the till, all of that hardware will need swapping out for chip and pin compliant machines. And even going on behind the scenes, you've got the back office equipment that also needs to be changed as well. We're talking tens of millions of pounds for a typical organisation to implement chip and pin at that top end of the market. But what they save in fraudulent transactions is offset tenfold.
How did you come into the banking industry and get involved with test cards and tools?
It was actually the other founder director who came from the banking industry. I actually came from a different industry. He used to work for Lloyd's TSB at the time and sat on many groups with regard to implementing EMV or chip and pin in the UK. All of the banks would sit together monthly, cooperating, deciding how they were going to implement this and ensure that all of the bank cards would be accepted in all of the major stores, and more importantly, or as equally as importantly, at the likes of ATMs for when you need to get your cash out. So with the other founder directors' background being in testing and also in development, when they used to sit around the table with all of the other banks, and he was representing Lloyd's TSB at the time, the question that came up time and time again was, how are we going to test EMV? How are we going to test chip and pin and make sure that it's safe and it does everything that we want it to do? And it became very, very apparent then that although we were at the stage where there were test cards and ATMs available, they weren't being robustly tested. So we came up with the idea that we would develop our own tool and take it back to the banks and sell it to the banks, which is exactly
How
what
did
we
you manage to get people to support your idea?
Well, as I've just said on the last question, we actually got the banks around the table and showed them our concept of how everything should be tested. But over and above the banks, the decisions with regard to testing don't directly come from them. They come from, not from the card issuers, but actually from the card schemes. So it's the likes of MasterCard, Visa, American Express and the debit schemes, who again, like the banks in a non-competitive way, will sit around the table and ensure that there is reciprocity with regard to all of the cards, the ATM, no matter
How
where
many
you go.
people are involved in the creation of a new test tool?
Probably more than you think. It starts off with a concept, so I will go out in my capacity as Customer Relationship Director and I will speak with our clients to discuss their future requirements, to see what they need, whether they're actually working on a contactless project, for example. I'm sure that you're very, very aware now that we're looking at mobile payments, so you can use your mobile phone. There's many, many different ways to pay now. So with regard to that, that will start off with myself and probably maybe our technical sales director or one of the other founder directors going out speaking with clients. We'll come back and we'll bring the concept back to the office. And then after much brainstorming, we'll come up with some type of roadmap for a new tool. That will probably involve around about 15 engineers. And then that will be developed by our development team. And then it will be tested by our testing team, who are about 8 or 9 people. Then it'll go to quality assurance again, and then it'll go back to the client. So probably all in all, for a new initiative, you're talking around about 50 people being involved in a new concept or a changing specification.
How did you feel when you were given the privilege of receiving your 2 Queen's Awards?
Well, we were absolutely elated, and I think one of the most difficult things for me in particular, because I was obviously so proud and so desperate to tell people, but we actually found out over a month before the Queen's Awards are actually made public. They're made public on the Queen's birthday. And so we found out over 4 weeks beforehand, and what that does, it gives you time for your PR department and your marketing department to actually start to prepare for press releases. It's made very, very clear that if any of the winners divulge to the press or to any other organisation that they are a Queen's Awards winner before they are announced by the Queen on her birthday, you're actually withdrawn from the awards and the awards are not awarded to you. So I had nearly a month of having to share the news with absolutely no one, which I found very, very difficult because I just wanted to tell the world. The Queen's Awards themselves are the most prestigious awards that a UK company can win. There are many, many industry awards that we enter, which are great awards to have, but the Queen's Award, no matter what industry you're in, are acknowledged as the premier award for British businesses. So not only did we feel exceptionally proud, it was obviously a great time for the whole team. The motivation was wonderful, the team spirit was fantastic at the time, and it also raises your calibre of the type of recruitment and the people who want to come and work for you, because we you know, for even now, even though it was in 2012, we still get people who come to us and say, we want to work for a company like yours who wins awards like yours. So, you know, the kind of fame that comes with the awards are still going on. But to say it was probably our proudest moment since incorporating the company, that is for definite. And we're celebrating a big anniversary this year. It's actually our 20th anniversary. We were incorporated in 1996, so it's taken us 20 years to get to this point, and it took us 17 years to actually win the Queen's Awards. So yes, it was a very, very proud
Why
moment.
ICC Solutions?
That's a really good question. Not many people know this, but because we all say chip and pin cards, chip and pin devices, but ICC is an integrated circuit card. So the cards that you actually carry around in your wallet or your purse that you see every day, in the industry we call them integrated circuit cards. And that refers to the chip on a card. Instead of chip and pin, we would say ICC, integrated circuit card.
This is the end of our interview. I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of me and Matthew to thank Wendy for her time.
If you want to find out more, go to www.iccsolutions.com.
Back to the studio.